All right, here we go. Let's get it. Aswand, Cruickshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking in for a daily Move Swiftly thought, giving you a perspective on teamwork that you will not get anywhere else. Recording this on a Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. Underneath the lights. Underneath the lights. Last 2 weeks in August, you know, the feeling is in the air. Football energy is back. An energy that I live for, a game I live for, a type of thinking, a type of work, a organization. When it comes to the football energy, it's the kind of energy that I need in order to make it through each and every one of my days. All right, so as far as today's Move Swiftly thought, I'm recording this about 24 hours after a viral interview between Tua Tagovailoa and Dan Le Batard through two Miamians. I guess you can kind of officially call them Miamians. One's the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, and Dan Le Batard has been kind of a reporter, journalist, whatever you want to call him, in the South Florida area for years. All right, so the interview went viral in which Dan Le Batard asked Tua about the difference between the coach he had when he was a rookie and the coach he had now. And he, in so many words, absolutely ripped Brian Flores to shreds. I don't know if he said it directly, but pretty much called him a terrible person in so many words. All right, he, went around about ways saying it, saying, hey, if you had a coach that told you sucked and all that kind of stuff, and was really demeaning and all that, and all of that, right? So have to give my thoughts on this, seeing that I am a former employee for the Miami Dolphins Foundation, and I actually happened to meet Brian Flores. It was actually a coaching clinic, and he gave the initial address, the initial introduction to all the coaches out there. And just based on his demeanor, based on what he was saying in the speech, I don't doubt 1 minute that anything that Tua said, that he was rough on him. He made him really feel like he wasn't shit and all that. And I don't necessarily blame him at all. It's professional football. I understand this is a guy that's coming from Brooklyn. He's coming from Brooklyn, coming from that Belichick era, was never a coordinator. He came from being a special teams coach all the way to being a head coach, which means you had to be hard. You couldn't play favorites. You had to be the asshole. I've said it so many different times when it comes to leadership. You can never go from being nice to being an asshole. You can only go from being an asshole to being nice. And seeing the situation that Flores was in, inheriting a losing culture, right? That's what the other one, Gase, had, was a losing culture. And then bringing Brian Flores in, he had to be hard on him. He had to be an asshole. So again, I don't doubt 1 minute what Tua was saying. What I'm here to tell you is there's nothing wrong with that. All right, there's nothing wrong with that. The only reason that, in my opinion, that things have actually gone viral is because Tua has had some success under Mike McDaniel. However, here's what we got to make sure we remember, and when we're evaluating the whole situation, is that, look, Mike McDaniel has Tyreek Hill on his roster. All right, Tyreek Hill is the best player in the NFL. He's going to make any coach better, right? He's going to make any coach better, any play, more in particular, he's going to make any play caller a whole lot better than he was. But that's really not that's really not the bigger picture. That's kind of the small take, my initial take on whether you want to compare Flores to Mike McDaniel, which is too often what they want to do. I just want to throw that caveat out there. The main thing that we have to understand about the situation is that there's levels to this. All right, there's levels to this. There's ownership, who is Stephen Ross. There's general manager Chris Grier. There's head coach, right, which was Brian Flores and Mike McDaniel. And then there's the quarterback. There's levels, all right? And I remember actually graduating from college, and I was telling a few people that I wanted to coach in the NFL. And I remember they told me, look, and they were telling me back then, this is 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, they're telling me back then, it's not about learning. They said, look, Aswand, it's not about learning to coach an NFL team. You have to learn to own an NFL team, because the ownership is who's making the decisions. Any coach out there right now, I guarantee you, if you're looking at Tua and you're looking at Justin Hubert in terms of the measurables, in terms of their ability on the field and all that, you're taking Justin Hubert. He's just overall kind of not statistically, but measurably, just a better player and can do a whole lot more for you. Taller, but not to say Tua's a bad player, but Justin Hubert would have, again, this looks like the prototypical quarterback. And it's not a bad thing that Flores may have wanted him. Now, again, you get Stephen Ross, who has the money, the owner, get Chris Grier, who's fighting for Tua for whatever the reason is. And we don't know. Nobody actually knows the reason unless you're them. But the point of the matter is, when you want to be in this game, sports, fitness, regardless, and this is beyond sports, you got to be thinking in terms of how do I establish myself in the ownership ranks? How do I put myself on a trajectory where I'm owning something, not just coaching? All right, general managers deal directly with the owners, and it's the ownership and having a say in how the financials and who gets what and who's going to be on the roster. That should be the goal, and that's something I learned early on in my process in learning the business and coaching and things like that. And as you're going out and building your business, building your organizations, and trying to figure out what your next step is, take that under consideration and ask yourself what's going to lead to ownership and what's going to lead to me having more control over this business, so I'm not at the mercy. I'm not the person that is essentially being affected by the decisions that somebody else makes. I'm now owning something, and I have control over what it is I'm going to be having in the future and all that kind of stuff. That's the way you got to be thinking, all right? All that being said, main website to check out to dive deeper into all my work, makeyourmove.com. That's makeyourmove.com. One-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. Aswand, Cruickshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.